Hey everybody, and welcome back to Split Couch Games. I'm Scott,
And I'm Ben.
and this is Couchcast number 52. So if you guys wanted to, you guys could go back to episode 1 and watch one a week for a year, and then you'd have done that, and I'm sorry that you would have done that.
Or they could just watch the new ones once a week.
But yeah, I mean, it's also true. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of options on how you live your life. Those are two of them. It's cold, man. It's really cold.
Yeah, it's been getting pretty chilly. We busted out the space heater, which I just realized is still going. So that might be in the background.
That's fine. I can remove it. But yeah, I'm thinking about busting out mine. I was hoping to hold out to November, but it just got like super cold over like
The last week and a half.
2 days. It was like, oh, this is kind of nice, and then boom, chilly.
Yep.
But yeah, so I'll be busting that out here pretty soon, probably today. But
Yeah.
anyway, we're gonna be talking about two, I would say, controversial topics. All of them the first one we're going to talk about will be the YouTube Casey Neistats versus Jimmy Kimmel controversy. I guess is how we can label that for now. It's not really. It's Casey Neistats versus YouTube, but Jimmy Kimmel's the trigger.
Sure, yeah.
And we're going to talk about that pretty briefly. Pretty much everything that can be said has been said about it, I think. But we want to give our thoughts. And then Battlefront MTX, microtransactions in Battlefront 2. They're not good. Spoiler alert.
Nope. They're not great.
So we'll hop right on into the Casey Neistats story. So a couple weeks ago there was the Las Vegas shooting, which is terrible and all of that, and Casey Neistats decided that he wanted to do his part to help and set up a GoFundMe and made a video about it and said that all the AdSense revenue from that video was going to go to the victims, and everyone was like, yay! And then YouTube was like, no AdSense revenue for this video because it's about a tragedy. And then Philip DeFranco was like, hold on, and then linked a picture of an ad on Jimmy Kimmel's video talking about the tragedy. So everyone kind of got a little pissy at YouTube, and which is fair. And it turns out YouTube finally said that, Jimmy Kimmel's network gets their own ads, so it kind of bypasses YouTube's ad policy in that way.
I don't know if it completely bypasses it or if it's supplementary. I'm not entirely sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know that the way it works is like their network purchases ads that roll on those videos. So it's their money that's being spent on making sure the ads are there and everything, or something like that. Or they have some sort of deal or whatever. But yeah,
we don't know the specifics because we are not Jimmy Kimmel sized network. We are two people with no money versus NBC.
No,
not NBC. CBS.
Really, it doesn't matter because they have money.
They have a lot of money.
We don't.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's why it happened, which makes it a little bit better in my mind. But it does, I think, contribute to the problem that YouTube has as a whole, where there's just no clarity on how anything works anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they explicitly kind of came out and said that they are working to try and make sure that the partner paid ads that roll on channels like Jimmy Kimmel's and everything don't get put on videos, talking about tragedies and that kind of thing. But for me personally, like, the problem is more about the fact that like you can't talk about tragedies without being demonetized.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand how you may want to prevent, certain groups from capitalizing off of showcasing violence and that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if it's effectively a news report, or in, or in the case of, Neistat, where he didn't even show any footage, he didn't even really talk like in detail about the attack or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But because the video's mostly about the charity, the charity fund he was starting and all that kind of stuff, like that video is still demonetized.
Yeah.
And I personally don't think you should be able to, or I don't think YouTube should be demonetizing, rather, videos that are talking about those types of things, just simply because they're talking about a terrible, no good, very bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I understand where they're coming from in that, like, they don't want people to just make basically shit videos that are, like, and then put, like, oh, Las Vegas attack, how terrible, and then, like, have that, like, be nothing to do with the video, or
Yeah, sure.
even just, like you said, like, glorifying it, or whatever the case may be. Like, they don't want that to be something that you can profit off of. But it's, and I'm okay with that sentiment, but the way that it's just like this blanket, like, anything that has to do with this is going to be demonetized, I don't think that that's okay.
Yeah. And I definitely agree with that. And I don't want to sit here and say that it's effectively them censoring or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because technically them being this private platform that we're deciding to put our content on, like, realistically, like, they have the right to determine what we can and cannot put out.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like they've surpassed the point where they can really have that right. Because, I mean, it would be kind of like, NBC or something like that, coming out and saying, it's like, oh, we're never going to talk about, tragedies like this or war or anything like that. Like, we're only going to report happy news. And technically, like, because they are a company, like, they can make that call. But at the same time, like, being, a major public television network that reports news and everything like that, they kind of owe it to the public to actually report that news appropriately and everything like that.
I mean, yeah, but, like, in their defense, that doesn't mean that they have to allow ads. Like, it's not like they're shutting down the videos.
I'm talking,
but
yeah. But I mean, like, because of how YouTube works, because it's user content created and everything, or user created content rather. It's I feel like when you take away the incentive, you are making it so that it's going to be less frequent.
Sure, I got you.
And, again, like, even if that's not necessarily the intent, that's still what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. I mean, that's just kind of my 2 cents on it. And
well, I think that, like, we've seen that even outside of, like, tragedies and stuff, like, the AI algorithm or whatever that decides, that these videos should be demonetized has been overreaching on pretty much any type of video.
Yeah.
And I mean,
heck, we've had some of our podcasts be demonetized just because of the background footage, so.
Presumably.
Well,
yeah.
Yeah. But I can't even remember what we were talking about in the one that had the PUBG footage.
Yeah, I don't know. There were no kills on that because I can't actually kill anyone in that game. Like there was a couple kills, but like I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's what it is.
Um,
So this video is, I think, gonna have trials
oh,
footage behind it.
that one's actually, because that was the one about Nintendo banning live streaming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that one's monetized now, so not sure what happened there. Don't ask.
All right. Well, whatever. I don't know, man. It's all just silly. But yeah, I mean, those are quick thoughts. And did you have anything else that you wanted to say? Or...
Not about that, no.
Okay.
I have something that I want to say before we finish up the video, but that'll come at the end, so.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Just try and remind me, otherwise I'll forget.
I don't know what this is. Okay.
Don't worry about it.
All right. Something at the end of the video. All right. Now I'm gonna be all worried about that, but I have final editing control, so I can cut it out. So ha.
It's just an update on like live streaming and stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
That's fair. Anyway, so Battlefront 2 had its beta and it kind of showed the world its microtransaction system. People are not happy with microtransactions. This is shocking. And as someone who does their best to defend microtransactions, I can't.
did you actually play the beta at all?
No.
Oh. Well, that's unfortunate. You should have. It was great.
I saw some footage and it looked good.
Yeah, well, the game itself plays wonderfully well.
Yeah.
But I imagine that, you know, after a couple months, even probably, it'll just end up being kind of like this giant conglomerate of like, oh well, you know, I don't have the best stuff, and
but
it relies on RNG.
That's okay because you can buy all the best stuff.
No,
kind of.
You can buy the chance at the best stuff.
I know. Oh man. So anyway, I guess we should. So I think there's 4 levels of star cards. 3 or 4.
Yes, because I believe it goes bronze, silver, gold, platinum.
Yeah. So, and you can earn. To be clear, you can earn these in game. And I think
Lots
that they're
grinding.
still finalizing how much grind that will be, but you can expect that is more than you want. And then you can also pay money to get the cards. And they said that you can't get the top tier. They've come out since this whole controversy and said that you can't get the top tier star cards outside of gameplay, which is good.
And what he means by that, in case it wasn't clear, because it wasn't, a lot of the top tier cards are locked behind achievements and that kind of thing specifically, so you have to play the game in order to unlock them. Now, the part that I don't feel like they actually really went into specifics about was simply the fact that when you play the game and you unlock achievement, or an achievement, like let's say you unlock, you know, the top tier card for the Boba Fett ability where you become invincible when you're shooting your rockets in the air or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they didn't really specify is, does getting the achievement actually unlock that card? Like, does it add it to your inventory? Or does it just simply unlock the ability for that card to come out of a package?
Yeah.
I don't think they actually went into that, and I'm assuming that it actually unlocks the card and adds it to your inventory, because that would be like the smart and fair thing to do. But at the same time, we've seen that, you know, some developers don't always do the smart and fair thing to do.
Yeah.
And realistically, most of these cards aren't exactly smart and fair, so...
So
know.
here's my thing. I don't even like the system without like the microtransactions. I think this is like a dumb system to like.
You mean like the whole star card thing?
Yeah, where like you can take reduced damage or do more damage.
It's way worse than what it was in the little bit that I played of the first one.
Yeah.
I mean, I played a little bit of the first one, you know, maybe like 10, 15 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not even that much, honestly. But, you know, I played it for a little while, and the star cards were... They were mainly focused around, like, giving you abilities and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, one of them was essentially, like, it would give you a sniper rifle. And it would have, like, one shot, and then you would go back to, like, your regular gun. And that was, like, the only sniper rifle in the game, or something like that. And then, you know, one of them was, like, a jetpack or whatever. And then, like, you would use it, and all these abilities would then go on cooldown.
Yeah.
But it was extremely customizable in that matter, but also oddly limiting, because it didn't really feel organized, almost. Like, it felt like, you know, everybody's the same, but not, and you just kind of have to hope that they don't have the cards that, like, perfectly counter yours, or something like that. And now, you know, like you said, they have all these stat bonuses, you know, like reduced damage, increased cooldown, and all that kind of stuff.
Decreased cooldown, probably, right?
It's whatever. I mean, it's an increased cooldown rate, but a decreased cooldown timer.
Sure. All right.
So, whatever. It doesn't matter. But, so... you know, and now it's like all of these things that actually modify and make an impact on the gameplay and everything, but you're still limited to 3 at most. And I feel like it almost unnecessarily tips the scales, because I mean, like, even if, like, we're talking just the I forget the actual name that they use for the game mode, but the Starfighter Assault or whatever, where, you know, everybody's in a ship. Even if we're just talking about that, like, if you have 2 people that have the exact same loadout, and it's all about making you repair faster and, you know, get a higher portion of your armor repaired, and then, like, bonus armor or something, like, it just turns into, like, this huge grindy dogfight. So, in order to actually defeat that person, you have to, you know, switch to beef up all your attack to basically counter the fact that they have all the extra armor, but then you yourself don't have the extra armor. And I feel like it's this weird give and take that shouldn't actually exist. And I mean, obviously, you know, this is all speaking just from anecdotal, you know, I played the beta kind of stuff, but from what I played, I can only imagine that's the route this game is going to go, which is super unfortunate, because I feel like outside of that, they literally made all of the right choices.
I mean, like, the actual gameplay looks awesome.
It was such a blast. Like, I loved it, but I hated the fact that, like, I kept getting killed by guys who have this special ability that I don't have access to, because RNGesus didn't actually bless me. You know, and I got, like, the abilities that's like, oh, well, this is great and all, except it doesn't really help me.
So my biggest thing, and it's not so much a problem with the idea behind what they're doing, but from what I can tell, there's no way to visually see or to keep track of, like, what enemy you're fighting, what they have. Like, I guess I would assume that, like, during, like, the kill screen or whatever, it will, like, say what bonuses they have attached to them. But there's no way that like in Battlefront 2, I think like it's 32 versus 32, or is it 16 versus 16?
I can't remember.
Okay, but it's like a lot of players.
Yeah.
There's no way that like you're gonna keep track of it, and like the kill times are longer than some games for sure. But like, there's no way that you're gonna like look and be like, oh, I remember that, you know, Big Booty Bitches 22 has, you know, extra armor, right? Like, that's not something.
Yeah, I mean, even if you are the type of person that can do that, like, a good and bad thing about the system that they've gone with is that, like, let's say, you know, you do notice that guy has extra armor, so you swap to stuff that's more attack. Well, he can then go be like, well, you know what, the extra armor thing isn't working out, I'm going to get extra abilities or something like that, or switch to extra attack myself. And then, so, like, even if you do kind of, like, try and catalog that as you play, like, there's a very likely chance that that person is going to be hot swapping some of those abilities as he plays.
I mean, and, like, it's just, so it's the idea that, like, it's invisible to, you know, to the player, because similar things happen in League of Legends, for instance, where you can have your rune pages, they give you some extra stats. One, they're super minimal. They're really only there to like help you through your early game. Like if you're a jungler,
it's not like 40 to 100%.
It's not like that. It's weird. Like literally like, I think there's like, you can get like plus 76 health, which is a good chunk of health, but health is visible. Like you're like, oh, that guy has, you know, 76 more health than he should have. Yeah. Maybe I'll take that into consideration. Or maybe it's a little more health regen. Maybe it's a little more magic damage. But all those stats, you just click on the character and it's like, oh, okay, that's their magic those are their stats.
Yeah.
And then there's only 5 characters that are very unique, so you know that that's what's happening. And then, you know, past level 6, it really doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Because everyone has their items and stuff. This is just, there's no way that I can see to like keep track of all that. Like you said, like they're even switching them out, given the situation. Yeah. Maybe they'll change classes.
Yeah. So, and that's like the really kind of ridiculous thing is that, like, you know, there is so much versatility in what you can swap to on the fly that it makes for an extraordinarily unpredictable environment. And I don't know where the decision was made. You know, like, I don't know if it was EA or DICE or maybe a combination of the two. But, like, the one thing that I feel like they are still kind of missing the point on in terms of how Battlefront worked, like, you know, the originals and everything, is that everything was set in stone. You know, like, if you saw a droidicar coming at you, you know that's like, once he stops rolling, that shield is going to pop up, and I'm going to have to do this much extra damage to him in order to kill him. You know, like, you didn't have to sit there and be like, well, you know, he might have the shield bonus, but he might also have the attack bonus, which might mean I need to take more cover, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, there's just a pretty even playing field across the board, and there's predictability in almost everything. Not so much so that the game became stale.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, when the servers went live again for the original Battlefront 2, like, I forget, it went up by like a factor of 10 in terms of Steam population or something like that.
Yeah. Everyone was very excited.
Yeah. And I feel like DICE is trying to hit this like weird kind of middle ground where they have that predictability, which is why they went with like all the classes and everything this time. But also like making it like Battlefield in the sense that like you can customize everything.
Yeah.
And I don't know that is ever going to be a balance that they can strike. Because, I mean, you know, when they first announced and started talking about Battlefront 2, like, I was super, super excited. And when I started playing the beta, I was really excited. Like, for a moment, I was actually thinking, you know, hey, I might want to, like, you know, pre-order this or whatever, so, you know, wife and I can play. But I, like, after learning more and more about how the progression system actually works, I don't know that I would actually be able to have that much fun with it for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Whereas with, you know, the original Battlefront games, like, when I was a kid, I played those for hours and hours on end for weeks and months at a time. And I don't see that here, and it's because it's too unpredictable.
Yeah. I think that it's trying to be a casual game. Like, it's not, I don't think it's, you know, trying to be a serious competitive multiplayer in the way that, you know, Overwatch or Gears or, you know, Halo, like, those games are trying to be. Like, they're more serious. Like, there's not going to be giant, you know, Battlefront 2 tournaments. Like, it's not an esports style. So, like, I'm okay with some unpredictability. But even casual players notice when things are unfair, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not... Like, it doesn't feel good when you die for a reason that you couldn't predict or plan for, right? Like, it just doesn't feel good, and everyone knows it. They might not know that they know it, but, you know, anytime that someone in Battlefront is like, oh, I shot that guy so much, why didn't he die? There's a reason for it that you couldn't plan for.
Yeah. And I mean, even going beyond that, like, you know, if you're trying to be, like, you know, more tactical with your Battlefield experience by, you know, maybe, like, sneaking up on a flank of some snipers, there's always the unknown of, well, do they have the basic loadout where I have to worry about a shock grenade because that has its own dangers? Or did they replace that with the pistol, which again has its own dangers? So yeah. And I mean, I feel like they need to go back to a system where everybody either has one gun or, like, one gun and a sidearm or something in case you want to be balanced and not have people complain. But, like, the original Battlefield or Battlefronts, like, everybody had, like, the one gun, that was it. So I think they typically had an alternate fire as well as a primary fire, but, like, they had the one thing. And they just need to make it so that certain classes and certain like, types of troops or characters or whatever have specific abilities. You know, because I mean, like, in the original two Battlefronts, like, you know, you could pick, like, just a basic droid guy, and he was, like, an all-around balanced dude, but, like, you know, his range was limited and his health really wasn't all that great. But if you went to, like, a super battle droid, then you were slower, but you had more health and you could deal more damage. Like, instead of, like, having this blanket, like, everybody's the same except they're not, I think they just need to have nobody is actually the same. Because, I mean, even simple things like the difference in movement speed and everything was something that, like, you could plan for and adapt to in, you know, Battlefront originally. And the fact that you can't plan for and adapt to that kind of thing. I mean, you know, like, a super battle droid should not be able to move at the same speed as a regular battle droid. Like, it just shouldn't. But in this game, they do, because they have to have that balance of, like, oh, well, everybody can, you know, do the same thing. And this is, like, a complete separate tangent, but I also really hate the ticket system in this new one, because way back with the originals and even some of, like, the really old Battlefield games, the ticket system was essentially, like, you know, like, once it got down to low enough numbers, if there were already essentially, like, let's say you had 10 tickets left and there were 10 people on the field, you could not respawn.
Mm.
So I personally really liked that, because at that point, like, it was not a like, oh well, the guy who's already died 32 times is going to be able to respawn and die again another 5 times before we even get to make a push. Like, at that point, it's just kind of like, okay, well, you've used your chance. Now the people that are left alive are the remaining 10 tickets.
But that's not a good experience for that one guy, Ben. He gets the chance to completely fuck over your game, all right?
Yeah, well, that one guy can eat it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it's... Honestly, like, I'm going to keep an eye on the game. I'm not going to buy it right at launch or anything, but I'm going to keep an eye on the game and see how it plays out, because I do want to play it because the game looks like fun. But, to put it in perspective, this kind of, invisible power-up system, if they put that into a Gears game, I probably wouldn't play that game.
Yeah.
Because it ruins the what's the word?
It takes the depth out of the game.
Takes the depth, and
because you can't plan for anything.
What's the word?
It just ruins it, period. Like, anything good about a game, this kind of system takes that away. I mean, so whatever word you're looking for, it doesn't matter, because it's covered by
such a good word. It's credibility. It takes any credibility from the gameplay.
Sure.
There's no credibility.
Okay.
Because it doesn't mean anything.
Sure.
Anyway.
All right. Well,
yeah. So let us know your thoughts on the Battlefront or Casey Neistat's video. And now Ben has his theme majig that he wanted to say about streaming.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if you've actually started streaming or not.
I have not. This was a busy week of work.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much the story of my life lately.
Yeah.
It was literally like the week after the weekend where we like made that decision and recorded the videos and everything. Everything at work just kind of exploded in my face, and I've basically been being barraged with meetings and requests nonstop. Like, most of the time I'm kind of working through my lunch. I'm still clocked out because I legally have to be, but I'm still answering questions and everything.
Yeah.
So it's been really tough for me, and I've been coming home completely and utterly exhausted.
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed,
every night.
But on the days that I work from home, I'm working until like 6 o'clock, and I like work through lunch.
I haven't even really been paying attention, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, but yeah, I've just been like, all right, well, I'm got to finish this up. Cool.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But anyways, I just wanted to say, like, that's why I haven't started streaming, and I haven't actually like made any sort of video saying when I plan on doing that or anything. It's because my life is incredibly busy and incredibly stressful right now, so any playing of video games that I do is typically for me to help me kind of relax and regain my sanity. So if anybody is actually like interested and waiting, like, feel free to follow me on Twitter, send me a DM on there or something like that, and I will keep everyone in the loop as to when that'll start up. But I can only imagine that my situation at work is only going to get worse over the coming months, so it may not be for a while, but who knows. So
all right. Yeah, I think that my work is slowing down because we just did the big thing. So hopefully that's the case. I'm planning on releasing the videos detailing my stream stuff today or tomorrow.
Awesome.
So,
and by today, do you mean today, or today as in like Wednesday when this is airing?
Like today as in like Saturday. That's a good point. Yeah, so like this weekend. So past weekend. Whatever,
okay.
Guys.
So everybody's listening to this on Wednesday. the video you're talking about was released.
Is already
last
out.
Saturday.
I've already been streaming. I am guaranteed to start Monday night. This past Monday night. So
awesome.
It's kind of irrelevant, I guess, that I'm talking about this. But that's why I was late to starting streaming. But yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's been wonderful. We should
been
wrap
a great,
this up since
great
it's
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure we could talk more at length about, Battlefront if we really needed to, but I feel like we're beating a dead horse at this point. So
I want to play as Darth Maul so badly. Oh my god, you don't even know.
It only requires you to get 5,000 points. So
yeah,
that's.
How many star cards do I have to buy for that?
Oh, it has nothing to do with star cards. Okay,
just kidding. Man, how mad do you think people would be if they were like, you can just buy points?
I'm pretty sure the game would just be DDoSed until it went down completely. Like
$10, you just get to play as Darth Maul the entire game. Hey. It's value right there. Instant win.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see you guys next time on Split Couch Games.
Bye.
Bye.